this is Chris Iboka, and I'm sure you've seen me before in previous posting my YouTube video channel. And if this is your first time, thank you for joining us today. And if you are a regular viewer, thank you for keeping in contact with us. And for all the beautiful comments that are coming through, thank you very much indeed. It's appreciated. Today I'm going to continue where we stopped on previous video, where we talk about the immigration health surcharge. But before we get to that point, let's look at the issue on the table today. It is about our lovely Mr. Farage and what he promised to do with the indefinite leave to remain. Now, I'm not going to take so much of your time to start going on about what Mr. Farage proposed to do or what he's not going to do. But then again, immigration is like a hot potato. You have to talk about it because it touches very many of us, both British and not yet British, who are in this country and contributing to the wealth of this great nation. So therefore, Mr. Farage has given all of us the opportunity to actually look into what immigration is all about, some aspect of it, because otherwise you're going to need a whole year to talk about immigration topic to make any sense of it. But what I'm more interested in discussing today is the fact that Mr. Farage is promising to abolish the indefinite leave to remain. It is a very important matter to look into, and that's a big if. Mr. Farage does come in and become the Prime Minister. He will not be operating in isolation. He will be assisted by eminent people with wisdom, with experience, with skills, especially those based in the Home Office. So they will enlighten him as to what makes life easier in the UK through the Home Office. So therefore, we should not panic because Mr. Farage may come in as Prime Minister. If he comes in, this country is robust enough to be able to accommodate him and to enable him to contribute his little quota to the well-being of this country. And as it may happen with politics, he doesn't come in. The point he has raised, the issue he has raised, will be looked into by the incumbent government. So therefore, it is a good thing that Mr. Farage is telling you and I what he proposed to do if and when he becomes the Prime Minister. Now, the issue of abolishing the indefinite leave to remain is so important from one important aspect. If the indefinite leave to remain is abolished, as Mr. Farage proposed to do, what happened to those who currently are what is known under the immigration rules of 10 years or 5 years? Those who are in the UK under the 10 years rule means that they will have to live here, make application successfully, be granted permission to stay for up to 10 years. So they will have lived in the UK without a break for 10 years. When they get to that 10 years, they can then make application for indefinite leave to remain. Let's put it this way. When they are applying to remain over the years, they may be regarded as people on probation. So when they finally get to 10 years, then they can make application, and if they are successful, they will be granted indefinite leave to remain. That means they can live in this country without restriction, subject to complying with the immigration rules. Of course, if they committed a criminal offense and they are convicted, they go to jail, that 10 years, that indefinite leave to remain may be wiped off because they will then face what is called deportation if their criminal offense is so serious that a deportation order has to be made for them to be deported after they've served their criminal sentence. So you can see immigration is very complex. So the question now is that if Mr. Farage were to come in as Prime Minister and he abolished the indefinite leave to remain, what happened to those who are currently paying the immigration health surcharge? What is this immigration health surcharge? It is a tax in a way that foreign nationals who are in this country working has to pay for the use of the NHS services. Why is this very important? As I mentioned in my previous video, I think back in 2016 or thereabout, the previous Conservative government managed to put in place the bill that authorized a charge for the use of NHS by people who are coming to the country as visitors. That bill was actually put in place to stem the abuse of the NHS. People will come into the country as visitors and they will end up in hospital, they will receive treatment, they will get operation, they will get all the facilities of the NHS, and at the end of their holiday, when they are well, they go back to their country. Not a penny on the table for the use of the NHS. So this fantastic idea was brought up to say there should be immigration health surcharge. And that started at £200. Today, it is £2,587.50 for any foreign national who is subject to immigration control. That is those who are making application to renew their visa either as a worker, as a skilled worker, as a student, or as people who are living here on the basis of their family life. Let's say, for example, if 5,000 applicants successfully make application to renew their resident permit, either as a worker or as a family member, they have to pay, each person has to pay £2,587.50 for the duration of their leave to remain, which is usually 30 months leave to remain. It's called limited leave to remain. So they must pay £2,587.50. And when you look at a figure of 5,000, that gives the Home Office, gives the NHS, which is then collected by the Home Office, a sum of £12.9 million is collected for the 5,000 applicants who applied to stay in the UK. Now, if Mr. Farage were to come in and he abolished the indefinite leave to remain, bearing in mind that the indefinite leave to remain is the point whereby the foreign national who are here on limited leave to remain will no longer pay the IHS, that is immigration health surcharge. What happened to those people who will have lived up to 10 years and been granted indefinite leave to remain? If the indefinite leave to remain is then abolished, what then happened to them? Where will be the stopgap? Where will be the end of continuously making application to remain in the country? Does it mean those people who are currently under the current immigration rules must live here lawfully for 10 years in order to be able to be granted indefinite leave to remain upon making an application successfully? What happened to those people? Does it mean they will continue to pay for the use of the NHS? And bearing in mind, when it was put in place back in 2016, it was £200 per head. Now, it is £2,587.50 per head. This is the question that the British public need to address. Will foreign nationals continue to pay this immigration health surcharge for the rest of their time in the UK? If the answer is yes, would that be fair and proportionate? So this is an opportunity, thanks to Mr. Farage for bringing this up now. This is the opportunity for the British public to get to ask questions about this immigration health surcharge. Will it continue to go up? Will it continue to increase, or will it be fixed so that it does not go or rise with inflation? This is a topic that everybody needs to take part and participate and actually get to the bottom of it, because we don't know what will happen once Mr. Farage comes in and he successfully abolished the indefinite leave to remain. What happened to those foreign nationals who are currently paying for the use of the NHS? So the reality is, every foreigner in this country who's working and paying taxes, that national insurance contribution and the income tax, we also have to pay for the use of NHS. So they are not getting the treatment free of charge. They are paying because that is the law. Will they continue to pay indefinitely if the indefinite leave to remain is abolished? Does it mean they will continue to pay that for the use of the NHS? Even though currently, once they've completed 10 years live in the country, they don't have to pay anymore. I believe this question is very important, because what is fair? If the foreign national already paying income tax, national insurance contribution, and the use of NHS. When will that stop? When will it end? Foreign nationals who are here contributing to the economy, giving their best, their prime, and when they are old, they may either be asked to leave the country or they're not fit to live in the country. And I think the British public need to know that the foreign nationals are paying for the use of the NHS services. It is not free to them. They are paying. So the Prime Minister today needs to look into what to do if Mr. Farage comes in. What do we do in addition to what is already being put on the foreign national who has to apply for permission to stay in the country? They're paying astronomical fee for their visa. And I think the British public would like to know what is going on. When Mr. Farage openly boasted of abolishing the indefinite leave to remain, that shows how immigration has become a weapon. And people need to know how much that is a big burden, financial burden on the foreign national who are working and paying taxes. It's a lot of money to pay, and the majority of people paying that money are struggling to afford it. Yes, it is true, the Home Office has put in place immigration or the fee waiver, which means if you cannot afford to pay these fees, including Home Office fee, you can apply for the fee waiver, and if you are successful, you will not have to pay any of those fees. But then again, you have to meet the requirement, i.e., if you are not earning enough, why are you not earning enough? The Home Office will need to see at least 6 months bank statements to show the movement of funds in and out of your bank account, to be able to know that yes, indeed, you cannot afford to pay the fees. It is reasonable to expect people to pay for whatever they use. What is your view, given what I've just discussed? Feel free to let us have your comment. I would love to hear from you. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.